What's going on, everyone? So reports came out that the Brooklyn Nets are monitoring Giannis. Obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks been kind of hot and cold this season. I still personally, this is just me, I don't buy them as a real championship contender. I could be wrong. Maybe they're hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the year. I just don't buy it. It's one of those things. I'll believe it when I see it. Chances are I think that they're probably a second-round exit team, but you never know, right? You got Giannis, you got Dame, two guys you don't want to go up against in any 7-game series. Both guys experience in the playoffs. Both guys have had big moments, have won games, right? Tough out. However, I do think that if things go south for Milwaukee this year, and I do think that if they don't, at least come close to winning, like if they lose in maybe like a tough 7 in the conference finals against Boston or something like that, then maybe you could convince Giannis to stay. But I think unless you're in the NBA Finals, I think Giannis is gone. I think he's going to ask for a trade. I mean, there might be several guys this offseason that could potentially be available, from, again, Giannis to Devin Booker, maybe Kevin Durant, right? Jimmy Butler, right? De'Aaron Fox. There's several guys that could be kind of these big shifters, big game-changing guys that could end up being on other teams, on other rosters. So definitely something to kind of keep an eye on. But Giannis, if he becomes available, I mean, every team in the league would try to go get Giannis. Realistically, I think that there's only a handful of teams that, one, could trade for Giannis and still maintain contention, and two, make sense to go get Giannis, right? Like, do some of these young teams, would they want to go get Giannis? Maybe, maybe not. But there's, as great as Giannis is, there have been these concerns, right? His injury history lately, especially come playoff time, right? He's only getting older. Is he a guy that's going to be able to kind of, age gracefully, or is it going to be kind of like, is there going to be this point where there's just a significant drop-off? Those are all things that you don't know until you know, right? Like, usually the older you get, the more healthier you don't become, right? Like, usually it's the opposite. So we'll kind of see and play that out. But from the Brooklyn Nets side of things, unless you're going and making a big push to get multiple guys, I don't really think Giannis makes sense, right? You're completely clearing the deck. You've made all these moves. They're going to trade Cam Johnson probably to the Thunder. I think he ends up going to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they're just waiting for the 15th. And then once the 15th comes around, I think that they'll make the push, because Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins, they'll become available at that point. So I think they'll be able to make that move. But you're also going to get some firsts, probably get 2 or 3 firsts in that deal. You'd have some tradable guys, again, Aaron Wiggins and guys like that maybe you could go leverage and trade. And then like a Nick Claxton, a Cam Thomas. Right? You're going to have several guys that you're still going to keep around. But it's just like, is that real? Like, okay, you go get Giannis and then what? Right? Like, let's say you package whatever you have left to go get Giannis. And now you have Giannis and what? Maybe you can keep a Claxton. Okay, fine. But is Claxton and Giannis kind of... Like, the reason Brook Lopez and Giannis works is because Brook can stretch the floor, right? Knock down the 3-ball. Claxton, if he's down, like, do those two make sense? So you're probably trading Claxton at some point. Like, are you going to be able to expedite a contender overnight? I don't know why Giannis would want to go to the Nets. And look, there have been talks for a while now of like the Brooklyn Nets being the team that Giannis goes to, right? Same thing with like Jimmy Butler and stuff. Like, you keep hearing these rumors and these reports, right? So unless they kind of 2.0 the Kyrie KD situation where, you basically have these two guys that come on over, come on down, and like Giannis and Butler try to team up to go win a championship together. Like, possibly, right? Because, I mean, technically, yes, the Nets could go trade for Giannis and then just go sign Jimmy Butler. And you have Giannis and Butler, and then you just fill out the rest of the roster some way, somehow. But are you going to be able to do that in one offseason? I don't know. Maybe. But it's also a good chance that you don't. Although, again, Giannis and Butler, all you got to really do is just get to the playoffs, right? Because like, if you're in the playoffs, you trust Giannis and Butler to do the rest, right? No one would want to see those two. I don't care. Like, you and me could be there, be there other guys on the court alongside them, right? Like, no one would want to see a Jimmy Butler and Giannis pairing. Obviously, shooting would be a bit of a concern, but I don't know. You figure it out, right? I think at that point, I think you figure it out, make it adjust. But I mean, you definitely got to keep an eye on in my opinion, you definitely got to keep an eye on and watch the Milwaukee Bucks. Because if they end up falling on their face again this year, which I think is a very real possibility, then I think that we're probably going to see more word in particular, but also very likely Giannis go, you know what, get me out of here. Right? And I don't think anyone really blame him. I mean, he's already made the pressure moves. He's already made the talks. Look, they're stuck. I don't know how the Bucks get out. They're going to Aper Dame, so they're incredibly limited, incredibly restrictive. They needed to get younger. And instead of getting younger, they got older, as crazy as that is. Right? Like, it's just... And look, I understand getting Dame, right? Because they... Giannis had the pressure on them, was pressuring them and kind of, nudging them towards like, hey, I might leave if you guys don't do something. And then it's like, oh, here's Dame, right? So you kind of make the move to appease Giannis, kind of make the move to like, hey, we did our part, guy, right? Like, we did our part, buddy. But ultimately, it's just, I think that wasn't necessarily, I think you were almost better off just letting him call his bluff, or you should have kept Drew Holiday over Chris Middleton. I still stand by, I think Drew Holiday was the guy that should have stayed over Chris Middleton. I understand after the Bradley Beal situation, they panicked and were worried about loyalty or whatever. I don't think Dame would have cared. Dame just wanted to win, right? Like, and Dame never wanted to go to Milwaukee regardless, right? He wanted to go to Miami. So I don't think, and even Bradley Beal didn't want to go to Milwaukee. That's why he did it, right? He tried to say, oh, it's because, loyalty. I just was turned off by, like, sit down and humble yourself. Look at you. You're a bench guy now. Like, relax. Right? Like, he's over here talking about, like, he's this, like, prize superstar. Like, dude, you're on a terrible contract, can't stay healthy. Like, what are you talking about loyalty? How are they else were they supposed to get you, Goofy? Like, it's just, it was just such a silly thing when I heard him say that. It's just like, what are you talking about? Right? Like, oh, I can't believe that, he won them a championship. Yeah, they're trying to win another one. Right? Like, isn't that what you want them to do? Oh, but you're right. If you would have went to Milwaukee, let me guess, you wouldn't have cared if you won or not. You would have been like, hey, we can go get this guy and maybe you guys can win a championship. Oh, no, we can't trade Middleton. No, you would have been like, send him. Get rid of him. Right? Like, what are we talking about here? It's just, it's silly. It's obnoxious. But I digress. My point is that I wouldn't be shocked if Giannis wants out in the offseason at all. Like, in the slightest. I think it should be something that's expected at this point, unless they win a championship or they get close. If they get, like, really close, then I could see maybe, like I said, lose in the conference finals in a hard 7, right? Or, get to the finals and lose in a hard 6 or 7, right? And it's like, man, we were right there. A couple, maybe a minor move or two. Because, like, again, they don't have if they had a way to, like, package all this stuff and get out, then sure, right? The only way to do it is to probably trade Middleton. But how many people want Middleton with his contract and his injury history? Probably not very many, if any at all. I just don't see teams lining up and running to the door for Chris Middleton. That's just me. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think a Nets move makes sense for anybody. I don't think it makes sense for Giannis. I don't think it makes sense for the Nets. And personally, I think they should all just kind of like, hey, good luck to you, Giannis. Go elsewhere. I think the Nets should just stay the course. You have a path. You have a direction. Stay the course. Stay on that path. Stay on that direction. You don't need to do all this other crazy stuff, right? Like, unless, like I said, you go and trade for a Devin Booker and a Giannis, then just stick with what you got, right? Type thing. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to end up losing Giannis in the offseason? Do you think that the Brooklyn Nets should stay as far away from Giannis? Or do you think, no, you really should go make a push, push chips in, try to go get Giannis? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it either way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.